What's up, love? Welcome back to the Quantum Soul Podcast. My name is Taiha. I'm your host, and I'm so excited to be with you today. Quantum Soul is all about helping you allow yourself to live a life that feels like absolute magic, where the mystical becomes embodied and you become your soul's fullest expression on this planet. And I'm super excited to bring you part 4 of our introduction series for the podcast, where I share deeply my journey of becoming more of my soul's embodiment and fulfilling my soul's mission and purpose on this planet with you all, because it's been quite a journey. Over the last 7 years, I've gone from being a mechanical engineer working in a cubicle 9 to 5, didn't last very long doing that, to becoming a world-renowned relationship coach, helping thousands of people heal their triggers from the inside out, get to the root of what can sometimes be life's greatest challenges, right? Our emotions, our communication style, our relationships. And I'm super stoked to bring you through this kind of final chapter that brings us to today. Now, of course, I left out a lot. This trying to share 7 years of life experience in a couple hours is a little tough, but I'm doing my best. And I just want to share the overarching outline and themes that we've covered so far. So in part 1 of this series, I shared about how the most important thing that we need to do on this journey is to reflect on what is our heart actually calling for. Where are we being led? What are the soul breadcrumbs that are being laid out for us through our excitement, through our joy? And can we follow that? Because that's going to allow us to create a life that is filled with those feelings. So that was what our first discussion was about. And if you missed it, you can go to part 1 of this series and listen to that. I encourage you to listen to this entire series in a row so you can get all the juice that we discussed. Part 2 was about learning how to be okay with failure and choosing the perspective that life is always guiding you exactly where you need to go, especially through the things that don't work out. So for me, the initial dream job that I got right out of engineering, less than a year later, I got fired for no reason. And I had the opportunity to be with that in a negative way and say, why me? This sucks, da da da. But I chose to look at why this was happening for me. What could this be guiding me towards? How could this failure still be a breadcrumb from my soul? Perceived failure could still be a breadcrumb from my soul, so that I can keep taking those steps that I need to take to get even more in alignment with myself. And that's when I decided, you know what? I don't need to wait until I'm 40 or 50 to start my own business. I'm going to start now. I'm going to start now. And I started taking those steps, which brings us to part 3 and that third lesson, which is the most important thing you can ever do is invest in your growth. Invest in support. Invest in containers, mentors, teachers, communities that help hold you to your highest alignment, hold you as the highest self, that sometimes it's hard for you to see yourself, right? Oftentimes, when we've been living in these old ways and these old patterns, it's hard to break out of it. It's hard to get ourselves out of those habits that have just been running. So that's why, to me, it's been imperative, right? I invested in that company or that program, that corrective exercise program that got me out of engineering and led me to this beautiful life that I'm living now. And then I didn't stop, right? I didn't stop. I've continued to keep investing in myself because nothing has been more worth my time, money, energy than doing that. Investing $11,000 in a life coaching program that helped me gain the skills so that I could know I have what it takes to serve people in this way and to build a business. And then investing in programs to help me work through any blocks within myself, self-worth, self-doubt, money blocks, scarcity blocks, imposter syndrome, like all of those things. I kept investing in containers that felt like it pointed to me, within me, what's really going on, that will help clear that out so I can be the full embodiment of what my soul came here to be. So allowing yourself those spaces where even when you're in the doubt, you're in the not knowing, you're in the uncertainty, there's beings here with you, spaces here reflecting back to you like, no, my love, you got this. You've got this, you've got this, keep going. We believe in you. You get to borrow our belief in you so that you can calibrate to that energy and remember the truth of who the heck you are. So those are the things, the overarching lessons that I've integrated through my journey and that I keep expanding into and keep deepening into along this path. And that brings us to today, where I've already shared a little bit about this part of my journey, but for the past 3-ish years, I've been deep in the relationship coaching world. I really honed my messaging. I discovered, who am I here to help? What have I really mastered? What are the ways that I can speak directly to these people's challenges so that they can really feel that I know them? And I did that really well, getting with the typical anxious attached, oh, do you feel this way when they text you this way or don't text you, or when they say this thing, how does it feel? And it was a really powerful chapter of learning how to know so deeply who I'm here to help and how to speak to them in a way and feel them in a way that helps them know that I got them. I've been there, I've got them. And, I had a lot of growth with that. I had my Instagram take off. I had so much magic happen. My group program grew to helping close to 100 women through it in 2 years, and membership community that is super successful and supportive, helping so many people all over the world master their triggers, improve their relationships, save their relationships, leave relationships that they haven't been able to leave yet because they didn't quite know what was their part and what was their partner's part. And all of that stuff has been an amazing part of my journey. And when it all started happening, I started feeling like I know myself now. Like, I'm here to do this, and it feels so good to have so much clarity in my system of who I am and what I'm here to do. And as this is what typically happens, right? You gain all this clarity, this knowing, and this external manifestation of all of it, and then you start to cling to it. Maybe you can relate to that, where you finally find the thing and then you cling to it. Just like when I found the thing, this job that got me out of engineering and helped me help people and serve people, and had this way of professional life that was totally unprofessional and in like a good way at the time. It felt really freeing compared to corporate. There's this clinging. I thought I was going to do that job until I was 40. So what's recently unfolded for me is seeing the box that I've put myself in, right? That external box that's like, oh, now I've found this certainty. Now I know who I am and what I'm here to do. And then I attached to it. And as I attached to it, I started to feel more and more disconnected from myself, from who I truly am, the way I was showing up on social media, the way that I was serving people, I just started to feel this, like my life force was dampened because I was no longer listening to what felt right for me, who I was, what was exciting for me, what I was growing through. I was attached to this old way that worked, speaking to this old demographic that I didn't quite resonate with anymore. It didn't light me up to speak about these things anymore because I was just kind of outgrowing it, right? And that's been a scary process because I've had so much success through that, and so much, not even just external success, but sense of knowing and security within me, right? Like, I don't want to let something go. That young part of me doesn't want to let something go that finally was like, oh, I can know who I am now. I can see who I am now. I can see my worth now reflected in all of these things. But it became clear that my heart and my soul was feeling limited. I was feeling boxed in. And then the way I showed up and the results that I was getting started to feel that way too. That's typically what happens, right? When our internal world feels a certain way, our external world will reflect that. So in some senses, the inner experience I was having, it wasn't fully aligned, and so then the external didn't feel aligned anymore. It didn't feel as easy to show up. It didn't feel as easy to reach the people I wanted to reach and to support them. So I've had to take this time of pausing. And you know what's crazy? What happened? I said, all right, this isn't working. I'm going to close this down and I'm going to open something else and try that out. I'm going to shift my demographic. I'm going to try this thing out. But if I hadn't had that plan, I might not have started the process of shutting things down. But once I did that, and then I started really intentionally listening to myself, like I did not want to work from burnout anymore. I did not want to work from force anymore. I did not want to work from not pure excitement and joy of sharing because I love to share what I'm sharing. That's not where I was at. And so I dedicated, like, show me spirit, show me soul, what needs to happen for me to truly make this change and not say I'm making the change and then just go back to the old ways. And so I made all these announcements, and then I realized, oh my God, Taiha, if you just started something else, if you just threw yourself into something else, that would be from the old way. That would be from the old disconnection from your heart and what you truly need. The old paradigm of you gotta make it happen, you gotta just do the thing, you gotta get out there, you gotta take actions, you gotta test things and like experiment and just do, and that's how you learn. Which, that's a huge skill. It's very important. I got that one on lock. So like my growth edge has been going the other way. You might be in a place where you've been chilling and kind of complacent, and you get to embody more of that taking action and showing up and disciplining yourself from devotion, from self-love, so that you can do what you're here to do. For me, I've lived my whole life like that. So I found out that I'm supposed to, like, what actually was being asked of me is to pause, to trust that all the work I've put in over the last several years can hold me, and that I'm worthy of this pause right now. And it's been scary because we can buy into the idea that, like, if I'm not externally working and acting and showing up constantly, then I'm not going to make money. I'm not going to be supported. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to die. That's where the thoughts can go to, right? I'm going to die if I'm not listening to this old story that I have to be in that job. I have to be doing this. I have to be doing all these things in order to feel safe. But through my life experiences, I've taken so many ridiculous risks at this point where I've taken my power back, my awareness back, and I've chosen to lock into where does that actually come from. It comes from here. It comes from my body, my heart, sitting deep into my seat, into my root chakra, into my womb, feeling the power of love, safety, connection that is in my body at every moment. When I pull all of that back, it's here. None of that stuff is reliant on what's outside of me. I learned that when I went from the engineering job, the safe traditional job, to the startup job that paid me half as much, but I felt so much more connected to myself. So much more joy, so much more freedom. Now, I've gone through a lot of like so-called rock bottoms. One of them being I invested all my money in myself and was doing all of that stuff to grow myself, and I ended up into $20,000 of credit card debt, which I had a story, I had a lot of shame around. It was, I could have done things differently, but could I have? Because some things were not great investments, but I learned about those. Other things were incredible investments that had I not invested when I had no money, or I didn't have it all planned out or figured out where it was going to come from, I wouldn't be light years behind where I am now, because those investments were what helped me integrate those skills in myself. Skills that are so hard to put into words, right? It's like truly doing the healing work to let go of all those old conditioned habits, patterns, beliefs, traumas, reconnecting with what is soul, where does that come from, how do you find it, how do you feel the multidimensionality of who you really are, your inner child, your current self, your future self, your soul, your highest self, source, all at once. Those are things that you cannot put a price on. And for me in my journey, I'm not saying that you need to go into credit card debt. Don't encourage that at all, only if it feels truly right for you. But something in my soul knew I was going to figure it out. Soul's got me. Source has got me. Spirit's got me. And yes, I was in a lot of fear during that time period, but I learned how to be with myself through that fear. And you know what? I learned how to know that if I lost everything at some point in my life, I'd be okay. I wouldn't die. I would actually come back stronger, because when you lose everything, all you have is your connection to yourself. All you have is your connection to spirit, to the universe. And when you can disconnect from the external attachments and realign with that, that's a thing that never goes away. So the next time, the inevitable dip, whatever that looks like, the breakup, getting fired, losing all your money, whatever, that life sometimes throws us crazy curveballs. We could never, ever predict what life will do. But we can lean on the trust, the embodied trust of ourselves, which is simultaneously the same thing as our trust in the universe, we are just the universe embodied, experiencing life from this one perspective, when we can do that, you can imagine what would your response be to those moments, just like that teaching we talked about earlier. What would life be like if every single dip in your life was the best thing for you, and you knew that, and you were excited through it because of what you're learning and who you're becoming through it? That was the only thing that saved me from the depth of pain and darkness that I experienced through my last breakup, where I had to face all of those most intense triggers and abandonment wounds and fear of being alone forever and all of that. Like, what got me through that was feeling my future self rubbing my back saying, Taiha, I know this hurts, but just hold on. I'm here with you. I've got you. You get to be excited about who you're becoming because I'm right here with you. You're not alone. It's happening. This is your training ground. So remembering that through the dips, right? Through the dips where like that $20K in credit card debt, I learned so much about my relationship with money. I birthed the Rise program, which is my signature program that I had been working with for people in their relationships for the last 2 years. I birthed that idea through that dip because it forced me to get with like, Taiha, we got to figure this out. You get to receive money right now so that you don't have to start paying interest in all of this. And it forced me into this place, lovingly nudged me into this place of like, see your power and share your power. So none of that would have been possible if I didn't continuously come back to taking risks on myself, doing things that sound so illogical to the outside world, but felt right for me. And I'm going through another phase of that right now with this recognition of like, I've put myself in this box that disconnected me from who I really am. And I don't actually know who I really am. And that's okay. There's a hummingbird, literally, this never happens. Usually the hummingbirds go to the tree that's over there. It flew right in front of the window, right behind this camera, and stared at us for like 2 seconds. We don't need to know who we are. We get to be taught moment by moment who we are. We get to remember through deep listening, letting go, taking actions, experimentation, letting go again, trying something new, getting quiet, pausing, doing nothing, listening, trying something else, listening again. How did that feel? Was it fun? Was it exciting? Did it open your heart? Did it expand your awareness? Did it light your body up? That's not how I was feeling in the way that I was showing up at the end of this period. And I couldn't ignore it anymore. I couldn't live like that anymore. My system was like, Taiha, you are built for so much more joy, magic, excitement, flow. My words this year were trust, flow, and ease, and it took until September. There was times where I would like dip my toe in and then I'd freak out and I'd go back to the old way because of what I thought that was going to bring me. The safety, the security, the certainty that I thought that I had from that. But like we've learned, the universe will slap you across the face with what happens in your life, when things don't work out, when things aren't feeling as flowy anymore, when you're not getting the same results. Like, it will become clear, and your job is to listen. So I'm in that listening phase. I've paused. I said, all right, we cannot start something new. I'm going to trust that I am held. I'm going to trust that I have this embodiment of certainty that this is the best thing for me right now, and that the universe supports me right now, and that I'm going to be okay even if I let this thing go. And I get to trust that all the skills that I built and I embodied through these chapters are still here. They will never go away. So none of it was a failure. In fact, the deeper I listen, the deeper I connect, the deeper I follow this inner guidance, it feels like there's going to be a rapid creation happen, because all of this stuff has been embodied through everything I've done and learned so far. That's what happens when you keep along this process, is you can let the old go, and everything keeps becoming more and more effective. And that brings us back to that first lesson, which is you do not have to know. If you are in a 9-to-5 job doing, I don't know, technician work, accounting work, working at a grocery store, whatever it is, you don't have to know what your soul's purpose is yet before you take action. What do you love to do? You are worthy of a life of fulfilling what you love to do and allowing that to be your gift to the world, and then receiving back from it. Remember, I was on my engineering desk supporting people in that community instead of that work, because I just loved it. I was obsessed. I couldn't wait to keep doing it. Now, I haven't had clarity on what to actually do. And then this week, I've just had these drop-ins of creating this podcast, reading tarot cards and making videos. I never would have thought I would go there. I was embarrassed. I was like, this isn't serious enough. This is not helpful enough. This is whatever. But I love it. I'm just having fun with it, and I'm giving it to the world freely right now. That's a huge piece, is like, can you live in your joy? Can you act from your joy and allow that to be given to the world freely? When you show up from that, people feel it. They feel that joy of existence and offering your magic, and then they want some of it. They want to feel that themselves. And so when other people are embodying that in their lives, it's their permission slip. It opens it up for them too. And you don't even have to know how it's going to make you money, because I've witnessed it many times when you're giving freely, because you can't help but give this thing that you love, share this thing that you love with people, you get compensated back. You just do. You don't actually have to go out and search for how to make it happen or force your way to it. It becomes natural. It's a natural energy exchange. So transparently, I'm in that process right now of like, how can I give freely? I've been in a place of like listening to business people and marketing strategies and like how to have successful coaching programs and all of that. And all of that is valid. I see people who inspire me who actually do a lot of those things. But I got disconnected from my heart and I put my power outside of me. I put my magic outside of me and into these strategies and into these plans and into these things that are not me. So I'm in a process, I'm in a chapter of how can I let it all go? Trust that when I'm supposed to go back to those things, if I am, I will. And I have all these tools that I learned already. But now what's most important is that I'm coming from my truth, my heart, my magic, my soul's way, my chosen way. And when I'm deeply connected to that, like creating this podcast, this free resource, my YouTube channel, where I can give freely and help people with nothing needed in return, because I want as many people to get this as they can, and everyone's in a different place and everyone has different capacities, and I don't want to limit that anymore because of this way of creating this kind of financial success or this kind of program. Like, this is my practice of giving freely. And I can tell you how good it feels, how truly connected to my soul's desire to up-level humanity, uplift the experience of we're all having on this planet. Like, it was this huge opening that happened when I was like, oh, I can make a podcast. I can share my meditations. I can share practices. I can show up on YouTube. I can do these tarot readings. Like, I can do whatever I want. It can be a soul expression of whatever I want. And I'm not even in the thought of how do I make money yet, because that's not what this is about. It's about how can I do what I came here to do and then trust that that will come how it's meant to. And it's not that like I'm going to just be sent a check of money randomly to support me. Like, maybe that will happen. I don't believe that that can't happen. But it's more about like trusting that when I'm in my soul's stream of offering, being, living, and offering my medicine to the world, those next steps will become clear. Those puzzle pieces will come together. They will align, just like in the past when I didn't plan any of these steps, but I got here. Right? When I thought I was going to work at the UFC gym and then I got presented the most magical, exactly what I wanted job that led me here. When I got presented with the exact coaching program that led me here. So this is what I want to offer you. You don't have to know. Yes, it's important to do what you can to allow your nervous system to have a baseline level of stability, which, to be honest, I burned all my boats so that I had to figure this out as fast as possible. And in some ways, that was amazing because I had to show up and I couldn't procrastinate. Like, I just had to do it because I had to figure it out. In other ways, yeah, there's different ways to allow the nervous system to feel more rested and stable so you can come from more of this place naturally. So I want you to notice, where are you along that spectrum? What do you need a little bit more of? What's going to bring you joy? I don't believe that if a job is taking up all your time and all your energy, that you have space. Like, every ounce of your energy that you give to something, you're taking it from something else. So if you don't have space for joy or even any self-care right now, and you don't see a way to create that while you're in this job, maybe you need to look for a different job that's part-time or gives you different hours or whatever it can be that allows you space to connect deeply inward, to find out what your joy is, what your excitement is, and then to be it, to live it, and to offer it freely. This could be going to the park and playing your guitar and singing. This could be going to the coffee shop and having conversations with random people because you love to talk to people and learn about their stories and create connections like that. So it could be anything for you. All you need to know is what's one step you can take. One step you can take to be with yourself, to get quiet so you can listen and hear what your soul is asking you to do. And then one step externally in the world, because we can't just meditate all day and not actually change anything. We have to actually take those actions. We actually have to listen and follow the call. So I'm in this chapter of what, I could name as messiness. But what is true for me is that I'm having fun again. I'm having fun recording this podcast. I resisted it for a couple days, but that's because I was having a lot of fun recording these tarot videos. And then finally I had this nudge of like, okay, yes, getting started can sometimes feel hard, but just do it. You're ready, my love. You've got it. That was the nudge from my soul, being okay with it not having happened the past few days. And being like, okay, now I'm ready. So there's this dance of not forcing, not pushing what doesn't feel authentic, what feels like you're trying to just get it done to get it done and get it out of the way, versus when's the soul stream actually coming through, and can you meet any resistance that's keeping you from showing up, and listen to the call. Sometimes it's easier to stay at home and watch Netflix all day when we had a really hard, long week at work. But your soul is actually calling you to go out in nature, go for a hike, so that you can be connected to this ultimate presence of love that the universe is, be reflected all of this abundance of connection and growth that nature has for you, and then your soul starts streaming these ideas that you wouldn't have had if you spent the whole day at home. So we get to lean into this together, and we're on this path together, and I'm so grateful. Wow, see, this is what's crazy. I've been talking for almost 40 minutes and it's just flowed out of me. Sometimes the hardest thing is just sitting down to get started. So just knowing that, just giving yourself that loving nudge to try it out, right? Sit down, start talking, see what happens. You don't have to put so much pressure on it, right? The pressure comes from when we are thinking we need to get an outcome, a specific outcome. It needs to be perfect, because if it's not perfect, then I'm not going to get the results that I want. Oh my gosh, I've had that for a long time. But here, I'm just sharing what I've learned with you all, sharing things, and there's no real pressure of I just hope that this resonates with you guys and helps you in some way open up to some idea, some possibility. I don't actually need anything from you. I don't need to get anything from this besides knowing that I shared my magic. That's what true fulfillment is when you know that you are sharing your magic with the world. And it doesn't have to look like anything. You might feel really like your life is meant to work in a 9 to 5 or in corporate. You could be that way. Or you could be anything along the spectrum from like anything I've shared about versus being in that world, right? But your magic is shared through you offering your music in your off time on your weekends, or I'm just saying things that I've explored. Maybe it's more art, creating a little Etsy shop and like sharing that on the side. Like, as long as you are sharing your magic and what you love to do with the world, that's all that life asks of you. That's all that you are asking of you. So what do you need to do to allow that into your life more? To align with your joy. If you don't know what brings you joy, start trying things. Start exploring. You do know. I want to debunk the idea that I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what I love to do. You do know. You're just not giving it the chance. You're not taking action. You're still in the ideas of needing to have certainty about something. It's all about breadcrumbs. Anything that has a hint of excitement, a hint of intrigue, follow it. And then it might lead you to something else, and then it might lead you to something else. Just keep following those nudges. And if you're somebody who's like, I have so many interests and I have so many passions, I can relate to this a lot, then just try one of them. Try one of them every single day this week, test them all out, see which one you enjoy the most, stick to that one for a little bit. Then see where that leads you. It doesn't matter. All that matters, there's no right action. It's just taking an action and learning from it. Using the action to reflect back to you how you feel, what does this feel like, what are you being guided to, and then taking the next one. And then listening again. And then taking the next one. So I can't wait to hear how all of these teachings and lessons and this intro series for the Quantum Soul podcast lands for you. Please let me know in the comments section what stood out for you, your biggest takeaways, what you're going to start implementing, what's been getting in the way, because the more this is a co-creative experience, I'm going to understand more of what teachings or topics to bring to the podcast to support you in continuously taking these actions so that you can create a life that feels like absolute magic and better than the movies for you. All right, my love, thank you so much for being here. I love you so, so, so much. Let us know what happens for you this week as you follow your joy, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.